If anybody gets out of hand, I'll turn it over to him. Okay, all right, go with we're looking at our announcements here on our calendar. On Saturday, October the 19th, Apple Harvest Festival. From my understanding, we'll know on Thursday whether he is going to, David Francis is going to continue with the Apple Festival. So we will know when that happens. And then Tuesday, October the 22nd, is our next regular scheduled town council meeting. Okay, move right along to additions or deletions to the agenda. Anyone?
No, Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
Okay, got a motion by Anthony. Second by Chuck. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, show like sign. Okay, we have also the consent agenda. I will also need a motion in that order.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion made by Julian, second by Chuck. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Okay, the next will be an oath of office. Joe Sam Queen has been appointed to the North Carolina Rural Infrastructure Authority. We hope there's some good comes from that. Maybe some money come our way. Mr. John. I'll get figured out here in a minute. Okay, you put the Bible in your left hand Bible here. We'll get you sworn in here. Okay. Do you, Joe Sam Queen, so solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States? I do. Do you, Joe Sam, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, and that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States? I will. I, Joe Sam, do you, Joe Sam, do solemnly swear that I will well and truly execute the duties of my office as a member of the North Carolina Rural Infrastructure Authority according to the best of my skill and ability and according to the law, so help me God? I will. My hand. Sign for you and put you in business and bring us some money.
The Rural Infrastructure Authority, established by the General Assembly, distributes several $100 million every year for economic development projects in rural North Carolina. So I'll be working hard for Western North Carolina.
Thank you.
And believe me, he will. Okay, we'll move on. We got a presentation by our Police Chief David Adams to appointment of Josh to Assistant Police Chief. If you would, Chief, you got the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Town Council. It's my honor to introduce Joshua James Schick tonight as our new Assistant Police Chief. Josh started his career with the Maggie Valley Police Department, rose to the rank of sergeant there, worked for Chief Scott Sutton, one of my cousins there. See, the hair matches, right? Chief Hollinshead stole Josh away from Maggie Valley, so it was a good choice there. I guess it wasn't so good for Chief Sutton there, but Josh has distinguished himself very well since 2015 here at the Waynesville Police Department. He achieved the rank of sergeant, lieutenant. Now he's been promoted to assistant chief. I look forward to working with him. He has the full support of myself and all the staff of the Waynesville Police Department. He's thought of very highly, and he'll do very well. And I thank you for this opportunity. Josh, if you want to come forward. We'll go ahead and swear you in here. I'll get this right tonight, Tyler. Put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right. Had it backwards last week. Repeat after me. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully enforce the criminal laws of this state,
I, Joshua James Schick, do solemnly swear that I will be alert and vigilant to enforce the laws of the state,
that I will not be influenced in any matter on account of personal bias or prejudice,
that I will not be influenced in any manner on account of personal bias,
that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States,
that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the state,
the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith.
the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith.
I will faithfully and impartially discharge and execute the duties of my office as a law enforcement officer according to the best of my skill, ability, and judgment.
I will faithfully and partially discharge my office as a law enforcement officer according to the best of my skill, ability, and judgment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome, Josh. Appreciate you. Also, we'll give Josh tonight a law enforcement officer's Bible signed by myself today. So if you want to have your family come forward, mom and dad, and wife and daughters are here as well.
We want to congratulate Josh and wish him the best. I know he will do a good job.
Yeah.
I don't think the pastor should, I think he should stay here and protect. You take care. Thanks for coming. Approve the classification of major.
Oh, thanks. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, let me look, let me
I
show
don't
you.
have any motion on, that must be an old version.
There must be an old version.
Mhm,
Think
There's
it's
not
in
one
here?
on this one. The one page.
So,
That's not,
We
that's
have an
not in
update
there.
on that. Mhm.
so I can,
Don't even pay attention.
well, why don't you turn over to me? Turn over to me and I'll suggest a motion.
Do it.
Yeah, just say
Okay.
the next item,
Yeah.
Rob.
I'm sorry to let that slip. I wanted
Well,
to ask you about that.
Yeah, well, good reason.
Yes.
The copy I had did pretty well. Okay.
Yes.
Wait a minute, let me see. Now 56. Just wanted you to give the 3 or 4 sentences on the reclassification of meter reader. Three or 4 sentences on the reclassification of meter reader.
Of course.
You're up.
Yeah, and there's no consent.
Okay.
Mr. Heiss has asked me to speak a moment about the reclassification of our meter reader to a meter technician. So Ian and Sean came to Rob and I probably 3 weeks ago now, requesting that we look at reclassifying one of our meter reader positions because one of our meter readers was leaving us. And it was a good time to look at those positions and see if we could find a better way to support those folks. And I think Sean and Ian did a great job of presenting to Rob and I and convincing us that we really needed someone on the staff who could repair and install new meters, because that is a project that has been kind of put on the back burner for many years now. Our public services folks just don't have capacity to do it. And so I really appreciate you all agreeing to allow us to make this position happen. Do you have any questions for me about it?
I wanted to give you that, note, but if you'll notice, you have already moved on that on item C, your consent agenda. If you have any other questions, we'll certainly reopen that.
Okay, anyone have any questions? Paige? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Paige.
y'all, appreciate y'all.
We will need a motion in that order.
No.
No, we've
it's
already
already
approved
been
it.
Oh,
minutes.
that's already in the consent.
Mhm.
See, mine had it
Yeah, that was a mistake.
there, so that kind of threw me off.
Should have.
Okay, we move right along to, update on the Hurricane Helene, flood recovery, community resource, Elizabeth Teague, and, we'll also have Jeff Steins to also give us an update, and Allison Richmond. Okay.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, members of the public. Thank you for putting us on the agenda here. If we could go to the first. Okay. Aha. Thank you. All right, so today marks 11 days after Hurricane Helene. And we wanted to update you on everything that's happening in the community, at least as far as just sort of some major things that are happening that might be helpful to people and good for you guys to know. There are so many good efforts, organic efforts, people helping each other, that I don't in any way think of this as the be-all, end-all of information. But I did want you to know some really important points of things that are going on in town. With me today, I have Allison Richmond. She is the Public Information Officer for the Haywood County Emergency Operations Center. I also have Michael Blackburn and Ian Williamson from First United Methodist Church.
Ian
Smith, I'm sorry, excuse me. And then, let's see, did David get here? Okay. So we can fill you in on the parts of community response that we're involved in, and hopefully if there's some other questions, if we don't know them, we'll find out for you. But the community resources, I want you to think of as kind of two major categories. One is pretty formal. That is the Haywood County Emergency Operations Center. They are working as part of for the formal structure of FEMA in terms of incident command system and bringing hurricane response to local government. The other sort of second batch are nonprofits and churches, private organizations and groups that are doing things in our community. And I just wanted to point out that the United Way of Haywood County has actually put onto their website now a way you can donate to the United Way for flood relief, and they will disperse those funds to local agencies. There's also been coordinated assistance of multiple churches and organizations. First United Methodist Church here in Waynesville, Woodland Baptist kind of out in the county. You may have heard about them as a major sort of place where people can come and get supplies and things. And I'll let each of those groups sort of talk to you in just a second. But I did want to point out that everyone talks about FEMA, this and that. And FEMA has set up both Small Business Association, Small Business Administration resource hotline now, as well as just the disaster assistance program that they give. And you can reach out to FEMA there's a FEMA app you can download and get to information and application forms. You can go online, and you can also call the 800-621-3362 for assistance for everybody. But then there's also an 800-659-2955 assistance line for businesses. What all of the FEMA materials say, and we can talk a little bit more about that as their question, is to make sure you're taking photos of your damage to your homes, your belongings, to your businesses. Make a list, enumerate that list, be specific. If you have valuations on that damage, put that information together. And if you have insurance, your first call really should be to your insurance company. Your home insurance, your business insurance, your renter's insurance, see what might be covered. If it's not covered, you might get a letter of denial. And that letter of denial you can use to actually apply to FEMA through the FEMA app, website, or phone number. We have some people that have been working with folks on that. And I understand that legal aid will be here Thursday and Friday. And Ian can tell you some more about those details. So I'm going to step away from the podium and invite Ian up to talk about some of the things that he's doing and the church. And it's interesting because, like I said, there's more than one organization. There's a lot of organic sort of helpfulness in the community. People delivering water, people reaching out to neighbors, doing wellness checks. But First United Methodist Church here in Waynesville has become a great resource. So it's not the only one, but it's a really important one.
Hey, everybody. Director of Community Engagement at FUMC Waynesville. Since last Monday, we've been coordinating volunteer efforts just out of our campus. We estimate since last Monday that we've had roughly 700 volunteers come through. We've been dispersing to different job sites, doing different tasks. One of the main ones, especially in the immediacy of the event, was to deliver supplies directly to people's homes. They couldn't get out, whether it was a gas crisis or physically they could not leave their homes for one reason or the other. We estimated that we delivered care packages to roughly 100 homes as well. And so this has not been just our show. We're trying to coordinate with as many other churches and groups as we can. Jocelyn Schaefer with Grace Episcopal Church down the way has been spearheading some efforts in a meeting that's been run out of First Baptist that includes First Baptist, Hayward Christian Ministries, Salvation Army, and a number of other churches and organizations to all get on the same team, make sure we're not duplicating efforts, and make sure we're as lockstep with each other as possible. And we get that this is a really fluid situation and things change quickly. 5 days is a long time in a disaster, and a lot can happen in those times. So we kind of see ourselves being the volunteer hub for the next 2 weeks. And after that, once a larger plan for the future is in place, then we'll just fall in wherever we need. So that's pretty much the gist of what we've been doing.
You want to have questions for me? Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, yes. We have Pisgah Legal coming in on Thursday and Friday to help people apply for FEMA. I think Thursday is 9 to 2 and Friday is 11 to 4. They'll have representatives on hand who will also have translators available if there are any in the Hispanic community that need to apply as well.
Okay. Thank you again for your services.
Thank you.
Did want to mention a group that's not here is the Pigeon Community Center. They're also coordinating with First United Methodist Church and trying to reach the neighbors in that community. Next, I wanted to bring up Allison. Allison Richmond, you may know, she used to be a reporter for the Mountaineer, and she's using her public information skills to be part of the county and trying to get information out as part of this disaster and try to keep people coordinated. Honestly, I'm sure she feels like she's herding cats sometimes because there is so much good information, but then there's also misinformation that gets passed around. And so Allison tries to keep people informed in a constructive way and keep us all kind of on the railroad tracks, as it were. Come on up.
Good afternoon, evening, I guess now. As you probably know, during the miscommunication era, when we didn't have phones and connectivity for a little while, we started putting out a daily newsletter, which was kind of our official status update and information. Now we are beginning to transition that with connectivity returning so that we're putting most of our information on our website, readyhaywood.com. That's got as much as we can, a comprehensive list of available resources. There's a lot of different church groups, organizations, and I would love to capture all of them on there, but it's not possible to keep up with it at this point. Everyone's pitching in. So we're trying to focus on some of the larger sites and bits of information that we can put that are vital. Things like FEMA information. We'll be adding the SBA information soon. We are putting status updates on there. We are also preparing to start launch tomorrow public information and it's called post-emergency canvassing operations, known as PICO. That will be folks going out into the field to reach out to people door to door, neighborhood to neighborhood. They're going to start in North Canton and they'll be making their way around the county and they're checking on individual needs. So you'll see folks out in the community doing that alongside FEMA members. So FEMA will be setting up what's called a disaster recovery center in the county in the coming days. As we plan the logistics for that, they have members in the field doing the same types of things as the phone lines in the website and app are doing. So they'll be there informing people, collecting information, helping them get set up with FEMA services to start that process. In addition to that, we're still having welfare checks out in the community. The sheriff's office and volunteers have been canvassing the community, checking on people. During that time when we didn't have connectivity, we had thousands of phone calls and requests to check on community. So that is fairly close to being complete, which is good news. Also completed as of today, I think all of our search and rescue missions are wrapping up. There's one mission that they're still continuing to complete in Clyde. And as soon as that's done, hopefully tomorrow, we will have felt confident that we've covered 100% of the county for search and rescue missions, which will begin the process of moving us fully into that recovery stage. As we move into that, all of these community resources, FEMA, SBA, other community resources through churches are coming on board to help people prepare for the next steps, which is cleanup. And as we're moving into that, we've already got teams in the field helping people to clean up. And we're finding, surprisingly, that they're not getting as much requests for cleanup as we thought they would at this point, which tells me that a lot of people are doing it themselves and helping each other. That's great news. But we want folks to know that there are still resources available. If they need help in 2 or 3 weeks, even later this week, if they realize that they're overwhelmed by the task of cleaning up, don't exhaust yourself to do it. There are plenty of volunteers who are coming from all over the country to help us. And you can call the 828-356-2020 line that the county has set up and request to have those services to come to your home, and they can help you with muck outs, cleaning out debris, removing drywall if you're in that position, and just about any other kind of cleanup. They can pull carpet. They have skilled chainsaw crews that can help pick out trees if you've got trees on your property. If they're already down, you just need them cut up. They can do that too. The Red Cross is now operating our shelter. We expect that even though we have only 17 clients as of today, that may grow as the weather gets colder. So we want to remind everyone that that shelter is open. It's available to anyone who needs shelter. As the weather gets a little cooler at night, we don't want anyone to feel like they need to sleep in their car. If they're having a problem, just let us know. If you need to get out and you need resources to get to the shelter, we can take care of that. They've already talked about damage assessment in Waynesville, but that's also ongoing throughout the county. So county staff are out in the field right now and doing damage assessment and helping people start that process. Infrastructure is still an issue. We're still having concerns with charter and internet right now is kind of the biggest thing. Gasoline supplies are coming online. Grocery stores are getting back to normal. Most of the water services are restored. We're having some little hiccups here and there, as you guys experienced today. That will start to kind of level out, I think, a little bit as some of these systems get stronger and we get more resources in place. I think that's about it. Do you have any questions on what we're doing at the county level?
You want to have a quick chat?
Allison, could you comment on the ability of our emergency services folks to be able to respond to emergencies?
We are fully staffed. We actually put an extra truck in service, and we have sent the strike teams that were here to assist us back home. So now we are back to our normal operations with our staff, and we feel confident that everything EMS-wise is back on track.
And then in terms of hospital services or medical services, could you comment on that as far as county?
The update I saw yesterday for Haywood Regional is that they are back in service. They are back to doing operations, and they will be rescheduling anyone who missed an appointment for a surgical procedure during the time that they were at minimal capacity. So now they're back up and running. We'll probably see the occasional out of service for a little while that we have if things get overwhelmed. But right now, I think the hospital's in a good place. They're being supported. They have plenty of water and resources there. The water supply, food supply, all of those critical lifelines, we have an abundance. I've seen it piled up on street corners now. I don't think we can quite get rid of that. So we're pleased with the amount of resources that are coming into the county to the point that we're almost at, we are at capacity, but we're almost at the point where we almost it's just we don't know where to put it all, which is a great thing. We are overwhelmed with support and resources and assistance coming this way.
When we often send people to Mission Hospital who have medical emergencies or need treatment for strokes or heart attacks or those sorts of things. What is the situation there?
I don't have the latest status update on them. Last I heard was things were improving, but their situation is still a lot more critical than Haywood.
The news just broke that Mission is moving all of their patients out of the hospital to other locations. Yes.
That's news to me.
That
So
was
good
on
to know.
13 WS that they're
Okay.
starting to move patients out of the hospital.
Okay. I know that they were having to move surgical procedures elsewhere. So
Yep.
that's interesting to know.
And again, we do send a fair number of folks to Mission or have in the past because Haywood doesn't treat.
We do. We send our most critical patients there directly to
We're going
I'll
to
have
get
a
it
status update on
for
that.
you. Some patients being transferred out of Mission, Asheville Specialty Hospital and Care Partners.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we?
Yeah.
Y'all have a
I
question?
have one quick question related to the, you mentioned the burn, boil water advisory here. I had a question from a restaurant here in Waynesville, and he asked if they could stay open. Do you have any info on that? I suggested he contact the health department, but
Yeah.
wondered if you have any.
The health department is operational and that's who they'll need to contact. There's some regulatory things they'll need to do.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Any other further questions?
If you have a question.
Do not.
Okay. You have my contact information. If you need it, by all means, reach out to me or our team would be happy to answer any questions and add any updates to Ready Haywood if there's something we don't have.
Allison, I'd like to say, Rob and I attended a meeting up there last Friday, and y'all took us to tour. I want Haywood County folks to know they are definitely in good hands. After seeing the command operations that y'all had set up there, like with the Red Cross, Highway Patrol, EMS, there was everybody that's in the emergency services were at that table. And I just want you to know how impressed and how a good feeling I felt after that, after seeing what we had that is looking after Haywood County. That was awesome. That was awesome. If you would refer that back to Sheriff and County Commissioner Hensley, I would appreciate it. That Rob and I was definitely impressed.
Yeah, we have an outstanding team. I'll put them up against anybody. Thank you, I appreciate
And,
that.
and you're doing a great job yourself.
Thanks. We're trying.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Jim?
We have some more information for you.
ET not done.
Yes, sir. A major part of flood recovery is damage assessment, and we wanted to give you an update on where we were with that. This shot on the left is an aerial shot looking from Frog Level down towards Russ Avenue. You can see the extent of flooding that way. The shot on the right was taken down near the storage buildings, and you can see that's Jody Nichols on Friday morning standing on the railroad tracks. But post-storm damage assessment is a process. It's actually a structured process which our North Carolina Emergency Management provided us with tools, templates, forms, things that we're using to go out as quickly as we can after the storm to look at the damage and to document the damage. By the way, I just want to point out it involved our entire team. We have Olga, who's here with us tonight. She's our certified floodplain manager. Our building inspectors, Roy McDonald, Jody Nichols, David Kelly, Tom McGuire, and Louis Delgado is our code enforcement officer. We all got out there to do some work. One of the great things that we have in our department are 3 people who speak Spanish, Tom, Olga, and Louis, and so we found that really helpful as we were walking around. But we've essentially since Monday, we've looked at 137 structures and assessed them, and it's still in progress. In fact, that number doesn't reflect all of the assessments that were done up to this afternoon. We prioritized areas that were the worst hit, and we also looked at other areas that weren't hit, because what we found was there was some wind damage in other areas around town that got other types of damage. But we also set ourselves a goal to drive every street in town just to at least do a visual survey of the entire town. And we're probably about 70% complete with that. Wherever we saw people, we would stop and talk to them, ask how they were doing. We were carrying water and giving it out to people, talking to people, and also sharing a packet of resources. We referred a lot of people to places where they could get assistance, such as First United Methodist Church. And a lot of times people just wanted to tell us their stories. So we were, in addition to boots on the ground, I want to feel like we were listening ears. And in those first few days, especially, that seemed very important. So initially we had 4 teams, each team with a building inspector. But then as we got better at this process, we sort of split apart so that we could cover more area. Why we do assessments. First, it's to share community resources and information. It was important to us to translate and convey information to Spanish-speaking residents. We wanted to expedite permitting and occupancy. So for example, Tom McGuire and Alex Mumby were hitting all the businesses. Like around Frog Level, there was some severe damage there, and Tom worked with another building in Frog Level to make it possible for some of those businesses to set up temporary places in the Boyd building where they could maybe continue to do business. It also helps us to identify upfront structures that are unsafe, like the critical structures, and to be able to document that information for both the town and for the resident or the business owner themselves. And in so doing, we create a record of flood damage. This can be utilized by the property owner, insurance representatives, to process claims, and can also be used in FEMA applications. This is really important because if you've been flooded, there's so many things that you have to do, but your building inspectors and your building inspections development team are there, and we're taking measurements. We're recording the flood elevation heights in each of these structures. We're taking some pictures of the damage, and we are filling out a FEMA approved and formatted damage assessment form. So in addition to that, it provides on-ground documentation of flood elevations. This allows us to actually confirm that the flood insurance rate maps are working or not working. Are the flood elevations that we're seeing in this event consistent or inconsistent with our flood insurance rate maps? And in fact, they are. The town was part of the 2012 state flood insurance rate map process. Our original maps were done in 1983. They were updated in 2012, and this raised the projected base flood elevation. We have local regulations that require new construction to be base flood elevation plus 1 foot. And what we found is that through the damage assessment, our floodplain regulations are actually working. It also would allow us, where we know we have some areas that did get a lot of flood damage, to look at areas of concern going back to FEMA. Maybe we need to restudy this area. Maybe we need to look at our regulations. Maybe they need to be a little bit more stringent. And I think we would recommend to you that it would be helpful to go from 1 foot to a higher elevation. The state is recommending 3 feet, just so you know, but it also allows us to identify potential mitigation areas. Additionally, we do assessments because they're required. If your community is participating in the federally administered National Flood Insurance Program, or NFIP as they call it, local officials are responsible for making determinations about flood damage. So we're going to be turning in a report to FEMA, and this helps our entire community, particularly those individual property owners who may be filing for FEMA assistance. We also want to ensure that substantially damaged structures are properly repaired and in compliance with floodplain regulations to safeguard both the properties and the safety of individuals. I'm going to turn it over to Olga, and she's going to explain the damage assessment forms, some of the things that we saw out
there. Good evening. So we were given damage assessment forms by the North Carolina Department of Public Safety, the Division of Emergency Management, just before the disaster happened. So this is a sample of residential form assessment, and there is also a version of non-residential, but they're pretty similar. They're very detailed, and we've taken them really seriously, and we did spend quite a bit of time on each structure, and especially explaining people the process of what we're doing. So, you know, there's a diagram of the building. We would estimate percentages of damage in each area. We would document what the condition of the structure is, pre-flood and post-flood, and all the specifications of the structure, the siding, roof, the foundation. And this is important because flood records are kept in perpetuity forever. So this is an official record. Sometimes insurance companies do come to flood administrators for the town and ask official record. We are this official record because we are a participating community. Also, each property that we assessed, we make sure we took at least a couple of pictures. And you'll see a lot of us on the pictures because we want to show these watermarks and measurements, even though they may not be that clear, but at least we have a picture. And this is an additional guidance, so we do take this step by step. This is actually a 12-page document for each structural element. Like this is a foundation example. That's how we estimate assessment. So if the water went so high that maybe 20%, maybe 50%, that's why it's very important that each team had a building inspector to evaluate. This is just some examples of the things that we were doing in the field, and just devastation that happened in the area. We saw quite a bit of high water marks, and we'll give you a breakdown in just a second. Some really damaged structures, again, high water marks, businesses, damaged goods, which was really devastating. We have noticed a lot of mud and sediment that came from the high elevations from the rivers, damaged foundations, undermined foundations with high water marks. We have seen accessory structures pushed away, and you also see David is spraying, marking some of the structures. So you'll see fire department sprayed some orange sprays, the buildings that they searched. Our inspectors sprayed red marks on the structures where there's known interior and exterior hazards to the structure. This is to alert people, to bring their attention, and as well as emergency personnel if they have to go to their rescue operations there. We may have marked 3 or 4 structures on our end only that are significant, imminent damage, also for the building inspector to be aware. So again, this is the marking, and a lot of sediment that got all the way inside of the people's dwellings, unfortunately. The water marks were almost at our building inspector's height right there. There are several units, even on the older structures, HVAC, for example, they were on the platforms. That's significant. That made damage. But the ones that were on the ground, we were calling it 35 to 100% damage. Also, we did have several undermined foundations that just washed off, as well as mortar from some of the brick walls in the business. This is some of the main concerns that we encountered at high water marks. So our post-damage assessment so far took place in the Delwood City area, Smathers, Sulphur Springs areas, Oakdale Road, which is not even in the floodplain. There are a couple of properties there that had creeks in the backyards that got flooded this year. Frog Level, Waynesville Plaza. As of today, we have started Peakville areas, Westwood Circle, South Main, and then into some flood areas, Cambridge. We do have an official flood map, but also on our website. And you'll have a close-up look in this moment, but just wanted to show you the floodplain goes all parallel with the other blue, the severe floodplain, red is the floodplain. These are dark marks of the properties that the areas we have assessed, and they have flooded in a couple of lands. In the areas that we assessed, we saw extremely high water marks, and we'll discuss more. In total, we have 1,695 parcels in special flood hazard areas, the regulatory 100-year flood. So over 700 properties. 447 properties are in the floodway. So out of 137 assessed structures, again, like Elizabeth said, it's just preliminary data from Monday to Monday only. It doesn't include anything we're doing right now, today, and moving forward. 103 structures were residential and 34 were non-residential. 12 structures, or 8.8%, were determined to be substantially damaged. Floodplain regulations define substantially damaged structures if the repair or damage will be 50% or more of the market value of the structure prior to the flood. And we went by the guidance that the state gave us, the forms to determine that. So they will need to comply with the floodplain requirements during their construction, such as elevated buildings, commercial buildings have an optional floodproofing as well. 18 structures, about 13%, sustained damage from 40 to and just under 50%. And 16 structures, about 11.7%, sustained damage ranging between 30 and 40%. To sum it up, 46 structures, or over 33% of those assessed, had damage at least 30% or more. So that is significant. And 58 structures, or 42%, almost half of those that were damaged had watermarks of 3 feet and higher. And from being with the building inspectors, if you're not elevating enough and the water gets into the first floor, insulation is gone. You have to cut stuff out. So a lot of it you didn't see. But we did see some water dripping from the house. So we were inspecting. 2 highest watermarks were 6 feet on Reeve Street and 5.5 feet of Harris Street. And Harris Street is off Ross Avenue. Across Ross Avenue from Zaxby's behind Hello Gorgeous Salon and auto parts. This is one of the first neighborhoods we've done. They were severely impacted. So, and the highest watermarks were there. So the properties that were built to our current floodplain standards, which is base flood elevation plus 1 foot above the ground, they actually didn't get damaged that bad. So they were in much better shape from ours. So pre-floodplain map and regulations show that structures that built prior to 1983 have the most damage. And 1983 is that when we officially, our community adopted the flood insurance rate map. So then in floodplain world, structures are divided pre-firm map, pre-firm or post-firm regulation, slightly different. So the ones that weren't built to floodplain standards got way more damage than the ones who were built. Now, out of this 137 properties, the overwhelming majority were in the floodplain, and only 6 of them, 4.4%, were outside of the floodplain areas. And just to explain what the floodplain and floodway, so the floodway is the immediate area, which is in red on the map, see right there. It's meant to convey floodwaters. So the floodwaters, always in the big area, there, that's what it's. So the floodplain, regulatory floodplain, includes the floodway and South Fringe area. So a 100% flood actually means you have 1% more chance to be flooded. But that's official regulation. 100-year floodplain includes floodway within the area. That's what it is. So floodway is the area where floodwaters are conveyed, and the floodplain, the fringe area, is the area where the floodwaters are stored. Will be in the maps. So our floodplain mapping, we can tell from that, is mostly accurate, except for the structures. But we are going to go south on to the So these are, so red is the floodway, in the dangerous area, and to convey floodwaters. Blue is the floodway, floodplain, and the bigger floodplain. And then the dark gray properties that are selected are the properties that got damaged in the So, down the central part here, some outliers, couple of them on the outliers. But pretty much all of them were within this floodplain designated areas. People love,
just point out the big property. These are properties, not structures. The big property to the north there, that's actually our park. Jody Nichols, our building inspector, worked with Parks and Rec to evaluate all the park structures. And there's some had some damage in Rec Park. That's a large property. That's why you have that large.
So this includes also the Fisher Park, Pavilion, Milo, also includes our home finance department.
Hold up real quick. So if I hear you, the dark gray are properties, not structures.
Correct.
Okay.
But some of them do have several structures. The part of the big area.
And you haven't gotten to Hazelwood and
No,
Country Club
they
yet?
started today on that. That's open up in the big area. And they have started today with that. But we will be doing final version. And these are significantly damaged structures, which is 50% or more damage. That's the elevation. So they are floodplain
And we do have a detailed breakdown block. So all 12 essentially damaged structures were in 100-year floodplain and 4 of them in floodway. So for substantially damaged structures, interestingly, we did see the watermarks ranging from 1 to 5 feet, and substantially damaged structures must be brought in compliance by floodplain regulations. So residential elevation, commercial elevation, or floodproofing. And something interesting that we've seen, flood waters have interesting patterns. So we went to Smathers Street to check on that section where Giles Chemicals and Earl Automotive. Earl Automotive had 3 feet high water going through them, damaging customers' cars, everything. The house next door, similar. It's Towing had nothing, absolutely nothing. Right across Earl's Automotive is Giles Chemical. And the building consists of the older building and the newer attachment. The newer attachment built about 7 or 8 years ago actually was built to the floodplain standard and it was elevated. The older attachment had water inside the building about 1.5 feet. The new attachment had literally the dirt with us that like somebody splashed floor. So that made a difference. That small elevation made a huge difference. So something interesting to point out. So I missed the high water marks. You missed the high, okay. So based on what we've seen, and we would suggest to bring to you the text amendment to increase our base flood elevation from freeboard from 1 foot to 3 feet above base flood elevation. I've heard it first a few months ago, even before the disaster, from our state and FAQ coordinator. Derek, he said the state suggests 3 feet. An example would be an elevated slab, garage on the first floor. And yes, it would add financial burden immediately on the people, but because on average we've seen so many feet watermarks higher, that would help people long term more. And there's a difference. Cold space floods, not as bad. But there, if water gets worse in the first floor, that's a major overhaul result. So that's kind of what one we would recommend to read text amendment to you. And another thing that we noticed, yes, we are participating in flood insurance, but sometimes deductibles are too high. We had one that did file because deductibles are $1,000. But if somebody is elevated, it may help more. And that's what the other two recommendations are coming back to. Yeah. Another thing we wanted to ask you, last meeting we came to see if we could waive some of the building permits for flood damage, and y'all granted that. We really appreciate that. The second thing we wanted to bring to you is to suspend our prohibitions against RVs and campers or travel trailers for those properties that have sustained damage and people can't be in their houses while work is going on. We would like to implement with you a temporary policy to allow people with damaged homes to temporarily use, like if a FEMA trailer is provided or a camper or an RV while their homes are being prepared. I've passed along to Rob sort of ideas about what that policy could entail, but our thinking would be to go ahead and let people do it for the first 6 months, starting from the day the flood happened. We sort of retroactively do it. And then for those properties that have active building permits, we would allow them to continue to be used until the permit is closed out and the property is repaired and they can move back.
I'm sorry to interrupt, are you thinking of a resolution to stay enforcement of certain ordinance provisions or a whole new ordinance for storm damaged properties?
Whichever legally you think is the cleanest. You may remember when the work was going on at North Main Street, we allowed some of those businesses to have wavy flags and.
I think he's still there.
Yeah, things that would otherwise be prohibited because of the impact of a particular. And so this is something that I think would really help the people that are dealing with their damaged properties, is if we could allow them to pull an RV or a camper onto their driveway. We also have a gentleman who has space, and originally he had wanted to be a campground, and then we prohibited it. And he has offered that people could temporarily go up there as well, and he understood certain parameters. So that was something we would like to come back and inform. And then
What are you doing in the meantime? Just not.
well, so far no one's asked. We haven't seen anything. It seems that a lot of people have gone to live with friends and family temporarily. So in my mind, as soon as we can do that, the better. I know we're sort of throwing it on you, but we know that we have at least 12 houses that really people shouldn't go back into. They're unsafe. So and we're still not done yet. But yeah, if you could see your way to giving us direction to work with Bob, policy.
Could we go ahead and give you guys the opportunity to move forward?
Certainly.
Yeah.
The ideas we have, we're kind of pre-thinking right now, but we'd want a permitting system so that a person would know that they have a time certain that the area that the vehicle, that the RV needs to be removed, so they wouldn't rent it out to somebody else after they're back in the house, or they choose just to live there permanently. We want to make sure it's truly a temporary housing, and that when the person agrees, they agree in writing that it is permanent. So I think that, if we work at it, we might be able to bring something back.
Yeah, I think a resolution authorizing staff to stay enforcement of certain ordinance provisions for a specific time frame is probably the cleanest way to do it. Then we don't have extra ordinances mucking up future situations.
Like a temporary waiver.
I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I would be perfectly comfortable going ahead and doing it now and let y'all work out the particulars.
I appreciate that. And our thought is this would only apply to these situations.
If it's for people that have damaged houses, not for people that want to put a trailer in and then rent it to somebody that has damaged.
Right. And I think that the best way to go about it is to allow E.T. and her staff to go through the ordinance and come back with a list, and come back with a resolution that includes a list of ordinances that they're going to stay enforced with. So that, while you can certainly give the staff directive to have authority to exercise discretion in the meantime, I would like to see a formal resolution before the board to give you and your staff the legal authority you're looking for with that kind of exercise. Yeah.
But if it is okay, and it sounds like you're interested, let us use our discretion in very particular situations as part of the emergency.
Yes, and if we could go back to that slide, then I think we can come up with something to give them the discretion.
Sure, for tonight, yeah, absolutely.
Can we do that while they're doing the presentation?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to allow,
Or would you?
to allow for temporary policy to allow people with damaged homes to temporarily use FEMA trailers, campers, travel trailers, or RVs while their homes are being repaired
For a period of 6 months.
for a period of 6 months.
Second. Your second.
All in favor, say.
Question. What does damaged home mean?
Right now, we would look at those homes being unsafe again because of the water damage.
Okay,
So
so you're talking
substantially,
about homes that are unsafe. not
Correct.
just damaged.
correct.
Damage, I'll amend that to say damaged and unsafe homes.
Got a second for John. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so like sign.
The last thing we wanted to just add is, we all know that, frog level, suffered some damage. There's some buildings there that are contributing properties to our historic district. Businesses got displaced. And so one of the things we want to do is explore the avenues that may be available to work specifically with historic properties to preserve them and bring to the table any resources for those property owners, those businesses possible. This isn't something we're asking for your action on, but just to help you understand that we understand that Frog Level is a very special place, and we want to make sure we're working with those property owners. We also want to leverage in whatever resources and advice and guidance our state historic preservation. So, thank you for your time. I know that was longer probably than what you wanted. I appreciate your.
Can I ask one question about, I remember, you talked about, 1 foot above, base flood elevation. I remember when we were working on the Bilo complex, that they had to raise that. Was there any damage down there?
There was damage on the greenway that was cleaned up, but there was not any damage to the structure.
Wow.
Tyler did the, letter of map. So they, feeling, they were able.
They brought in Phil and did a letter of map revision to elevate that whole.
And the other thing, and remember exactly when we did this, but I'm gonna be interested to see what y'all find about that bathroom in Hazelwood. Because we went round and round.
It seems so high up.
Yeah, yeah,
And it didn't get damaged, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so
and how much did that add to the cost of that thing? But
Now you don't have to rebuild it.
boy, aren't we glad we did that.
we'll specifically come back with some
Yeah.
information about that.
Interesting.
While we're on this subject, can I put Martha on? Yeah.
Guys. Jeff?
I had a question because I think it may pertain to later. So we're currently under curfew in Haywood County.
Mm-hmm.
The town cannot override a curfew implemented by the county, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
I mean,
There's a football game Friday night.
Well, I'm just saying, we as a town cannot override the state or the county.
You might, if you withdraw from the proclamation of state of emergency, I think that would remove the county's ability to regulate you.
But
what time is the curfew?
9 o'clock.
It's
Ah.
9 a.m.
9 p.m. I
Okay.
think it's gonna come up later.
Okay.
Thank you. Hey, Jeff.
I got a couple of updates for you. One being debris removal. SDR is scheduled to start that next Tuesday morning. Ironically, one of the worst areas hit with fog level, those low-lying areas, that actually is on Tuesday's run. So, we're going to try to follow our trash routes as close as possible. They won't just have one truck, they're going to have several here. So you'll see it being removed rather quickly. Second thing is we have 11 bridge structures that we own, 3 of those being culvert, 8 being bridges. We had those, required by the Federal Highway Administration to have those inspected every 2 years. We had that done this past May. When the hurricane hit, I wanted to have those looked at again, make sure they were safe. We had J&P come in and look at those. Unfortunately, we found the Depot Street Bridge to have some severe damage. We have since closed the bridge. Rob and I are gonna work with, JMP, get a summary back from them, and we'll either put out RFQ or RFP to get those repairs done as soon as possible. We have, one message board already out, at Orchard View, I believe it is, right there at KFC, kind of trying to deter traffic off of Delwood City. We're gonna put out another one on Depot, on the bridge side of the railroad track. And I have access to two, maybe possibly three more. We may put those out as well. On that.
Was the damage extensive?
Yes. So the bridge embankments and the middle pier, the velocity of the river just took the stone and everything out from under that concrete. So that middle pier is basically suspended. Then the outer
Bridge is holding the pier up, right?
correct.
So doesn't sound like that's gonna be a quick fix.
No, I don't think it'll be a quick fix. It's definitely gonna be extended.
What JMT is gonna recommend, we haven't read it yet, it's a temporary structural work, get it actually shape with the formal design and the formal, and the permanent fix, coming up behind. Again, in order to be FEMA eligible, we have to go through damn near as much paperwork as a CDBG project. We all know what that's like. But this is an expensive project, and if we don't do it correctly, we may find ourselves in 2 or 3 years holding the bag for a fairly extensive repair. And Jeff and I are working to avoid that. This came up this afternoon, by the way, if you wonder why Jeff's not in his coat and tie. This assessment came in this afternoon, so we wanted to bring it to you as soon as we could.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Jeff?
I believe I read on one of our messages that you had restored the water service.
Yes, everyone's water is restored in the town.
That you rebuilt the.
We had to, yeah, so a slide took the pump house out, deployed electrical, three of the four block walls. We had a contractor come in and he jacked the roof up, built the walls back, let it back down, got the power back, and an electrician come in, and then started pumping water. We found out some customers on Pinewood were out. We had to make some repairs there, but yeah, everybody's back on.
Well, that's great because I think they all thought it was going to be much longer to get that done.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, we provided bottled water to them that we had to actually bring up in skid steer at one point.
Yeah, we shuttled bottled water to the home.
What's the status of the ingress and egress to that neighborhood?
DOT's working on that right now. We have a couple of crews working with them because we have utilities that are exposed. So we obviously don't want those damaged. So we're working with DOT to progressively get up Camp Branch and Lake.
Anyone else have any questions?
Well, I was going to say, one other thing I've heard is that you're also providing water to Trumbull County.
So yeah, we've had tankers come in for Montgomery and then for the sites that people are bringing Doug here locally in Haywood. So yeah, we're providing water that's going out several places.
I mean, like 100,000 gallons.
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes it's smaller trucks, sometimes it's bigger tankers, but we're keeping the tally on all that.
That also female. We have a meter on the.
Yeah.
We have a meter on the spigot where we fill the tankers up.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, then. And thank you all for your update.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
May I report on something that I am familiar with? I was at a meeting yesterday. It has to do partly with flood
Flood related. Okay.
recovery. I met with Kevin Inslee. I didn't arrange the meeting, I'm just not taking credit for anything. But County Commissioner Kevin Inslee, Jennifer Best, the sheriff was there, the county manager, the county attorney, TDA Executive Director Karina Rothier, Jim Hinton, the chair of the TDA, along with and he's a Maggie Valley alderman, and the county public information officer Allison was there as the emergency public information officer. They discussed all sorts of different things: the state of the county, the state of visitors coming to the county, and it sounds like things have even changed since our meeting yesterday in terms of the ability of emergency services to handle, for instance, a hiker who may get lost in the hills, or somebody who may wander up a road that they don't need to be driving up. But these folks are all getting together, and Allison, you can help me out a little bit, to produce a short video and also a statement which will be updated whenever necessary as to the state of Haywood County that will be put out to visitors who will be coming to Haywood County, in particular with regard to hospital services, closure of the different the Parkway, the Great Smokies Park, packages, encouraging people to, if they come to Haywood County, to call the property owner to make sure that the property is accessible and available. The PDA has a list of open businesses. They're talking about encouraging folks to buy local. So I think by the end of the week, there'll be, we've had the governor, not the governor of Haywood County, DOT saying don't drive on the roads in Haywood County. But I think what you're going to see with the PDA and the other services in Haywood County is a statement that everyone is approving that will alert people to the difficulties they might have in coming to Haywood County, and the lack of some things that they might normally be hoping for, but not the prohibition or not the direct not to Haywood County. And I was going to say one thing. Kevin Inslee mentioned at the meeting that he has spoken with representatives of the president, the governor, everyone he's talked to. He has told them that the most important thing they can do is speed up the repair of I-40 and I-26, I-40 and the I-26 bridges. He thinks it can be done a whole lot quicker than they say. For instance, working 24 hours a day on it. So that's what that's one of the things that he's pushing. I just wanted to mention that. And one other thing you were talking about, is the legal services offering advice. They've been given a sizable grant from Dogwood Health in order to be able to do that. So that's how that's done. Anyway, I just wanted to report on what I found out on yesterday. And again, things have changed from day to day. I mean, last week we couldn't handle anything, emergency services, all that sort of thing. But things are improving daily, and I think that's what this either website or public information will be put out. We'll have either daily or whenever there are updates that are needed, it'll be on there. I say daily. Allison, and I want to see if Allison has anything to add to this.
Plan to get back to the issue on Thursday, the travel advisory, to update that through the TDA, and let that be guided by the emergency service response capabilities, saving the roads, and save our
Thank you. You want me to do my report relates to our activity, and now you won't have to hear from me again.
Okay, we'll go ahead and there.
I wanted to mention several items, especially what your elected officials have been doing. You hear a lot about what the staff's been doing tonight, but Councilman Sutton, for instance, worked directly with the purveyors of our internet and our telephone services, and worked to have temporary towers brought in for both AT&T and excuse me, Verizon. So he happened to be in Washington when when all this happened, and so he was in a unique spot to call these people up. Also on the 4th, we met, Gary and I met with the governor in Waynesville and discuss our issues with him. And then that same day or same night, we met with Representative Pless and North Carolina House Speaker Tim Moore about Waynesville's issues, and we presented a written request for funding that Speaker Moore said he would attempt to include in a special appropriations bill they'll take up tomorrow night when the legislature reconvenes for disaster aid. So we'll all be watching to see if Waynesville's up on the tally with everybody else. We also, I met with the FEMA representative from our area today to talk about the FEMA response and talking specifically about public sector response and storm relief and FEMA's plans to locate an office in our extended community. As Elizabeth pointed out, there is a 1-800 number already available, and we have that posted if you want to speak to somebody personally. They're still in trying to locate office space and look to get their communications and their computers up. So it may be a week or so before they actually have a representative in this area on a personal basis. The cities, the town's been working with our neighbors in a number of ways. Our electric staff has been assisting Haywood Electric membership co-op in their territory to help them with their outage list. Our public works staff has been assisting EMS with when there's a call for a search for remains along a creek area, we'll send one of our big 25-foot track loaders in to help them remove the debris very, very gingerly, looking for those remains. We're currently, our public works staff are assisting the county and EMS in redirecting some stream beds so that they can work to get those streams back in their channel and help them with the bridge, direct the bridges to be rebuilt in a certain way. And Jeff's already reported that our waste, our damages and all that'll start next Tuesday. So that's the end of my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Do you have any idea about when the landfill will be open?
It is open. We started service Monday. So garbage is moving. We appreciate everybody's patience. It's a little bit like after Christmas, everybody's got more, double what they normally have. But we're up and running and catching up.
That's something that we think you need to put out on that alert. Because a lot of folks,
well, we're on a regular schedule. We're not on. Have we caught up yet?
we're on a regular schedule. Yeah.
So have we gone through a cycle? So okay, so we're still behind a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. And the recycle.
Same thing.
Same thing with the
And
recycle.
remember, we're only picking up what we normally pick up.
True.
We're not permitted to pick up storm debris because they're considered biohazard.
Right.
And please don't put storm debris in your garbage can because we can't pick that up. And if you find a garbage can in your backyard or in the river or something, please bring it back to Public Works.
Also the barricades.
Oh yeah, we're also missing most of our barricades. So if you see an orange or a white, you see, I was thinking about kind of doing how they do the ducks down the river. We would give an award to somebody that delivers either a barricade or a garbage can the farthest away.
I can bring you some, I know where your bunch of them.
Okay, so you win. You're a winner. We'll figure something out, but seriously, those garbage cans are expensive, and if we can get them back, or you just call us up if you know where one is, we'll go pick it up. And I'm waiting for somebody from Tennessee to give me a call and say, okay, all right, well, just show us the way. I know there'll be a number of public works guys that'd like to go down the water dam.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Mayor, may I say one more thing?
Sure.
We all are aware of the fact that this is probably going to happen, and it certainly has to happen. And I just want to encourage the manager and staff to, before we build anything back, we need to build back better. We need to take a look at what is flooded and how to do a better job of flood proofing.
Yeah.
We talked about that area.
Yeah.
Park,
Oh, yeah.
with maybe the back roads down.
Yeah.
By the creek, and anything else we can do to work with the waterways, rec park, try to do a better job of the stream, with rich and free there. Anything we do, we need to keep in mind. Yeah, that's probably going to flood again.
Yep, this is true. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Candace, you have any public comment? Oh, you got it right here? Okay. Most folks know how we operate this. It is a 3-minute time limit that our town attorney will keep the time limit on anyone who would like to speak. And so I will turn that over to our town attorney.
Ann Walsh.
I sure appreciate this opportunity to speak to y'all tonight. And I own Ava and Arden, up 62 North Main Street. And so I'm about to have this would be my 4th year of being in business in October. As a small business owner, it was very distressing last week to hear from the tourism department that they were saying, please do not travel to Waynesville. We've had to advocate for ourselves to the town and to people who are on, like, We Love Waynesville, the Facebook page, that we are open. I posted last Friday, we are having Art After Dark tonight. We will be open. I can't tell you the positive response that we received on that posting from people saying, thank you, we need to get back to some normalcy. This month, I am already down 44%. I have numbers. Most of us here as small business owners have numbers. So it's very hard. This is our busiest month of the entire year. It can make or break some stores on Main Street. So when it is posted that we don't want people coming to Waynesville, it's unsafe to be here, it's going to mess with our resources, that hurts the small businesses here. And it's a great town. People come here. I can't tell you how many people came in on Saturday and said, thank you for being open. And I was like, thank you for supporting us. We need you here. Somebody came from Knoxville because they love this town of Waynesville. And I said, how did you get here from Knoxville? She said, I just came over the mountains. So I don't think we see it every day with the tourists that come into our town, how much they appreciate our town. And so please, y'all, do everything you can to make sure those travel advisories are lifted and say, yes, we're open. Bryson City, I think end of last week, said we are open for business. Highlands, we are open for business. This could make or break, as I said, a lot of businesses here. I have had to cut back on my staff. I don't want to do this. I have 2 floors on my business, and so I typically have 5 part-timers, not all at the same time. But I've had to cut back on staff. And a lot of the businesses here are having to do that because we cannot afford to, when no income is coming in or very little income is coming in, we can't afford to keep the staff on that we would like to have. So please do everything you can to lift the travel advisory and just let us go on and do our jobs and make this town great and continue it to be that way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Spencer Tetrolt.
How are you all? Thanks for having me. I got a couple quick action items in regards to just really business operations in town. The action items are, the first one is there's currently a policy in place for special event permits that requires 60-day notice from the event being filed prior to approval. I'm asking that that be reconsidered in the event that we're in a very reactive state as businesses in town. I filed a permit for an event to occur on November 2nd. That's been passed up through the channels to Jesse and Beth. Obviously, it's well under that 60-day request. I'm asking that that be considered, whichever the means are to get that approved. It's a fundraising event for emergency services as well as to drive traffic into our downtown district. The next thing was, after conversations with the DWC with Beth, it sounds like Jesse, our assistant town manager, is pretty task saturated right now, which makes absolute sense. He has more pressing responsibilities to work towards. A lot of times with decisions made via the DWC, as we've all been a part of at some time or another, the decisions take a long time to be carried out. And the tasks also get a week passes, another week passes. I don't know if there's some sort of committee that can be formed to help with that decision making so it gets done quicker, to alleviate the decision making from Jesse's plate. It would be really valuable. And this all trickles down from Mr. Dixon shared some valuable information that I haven't heard, and I'm sure most of the merchants haven't heard either, in regards to the messaging that's coming by way of the TDA, the county, the chamber, the town. That's really exciting to hear. Everybody's been terrified, right? Like life safety, property conservation, most important. After that, our local economy. So hearing that this messaging is being updated and changed over the next day or a couple days, every day really matters to each of us and the folks that we employ and their families. It's a massive trickle down. Nobody here wants to make those decisions, and I'm sure it was incredibly challenging to decide to say, yes, we need to say, don't come here. But that messaging matters, and bouncing back equally matters as well. So that's all I've got. Thank you all for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Have any more?
Charles Trump.
Good evening. Thank you for having us here to speak our mind. And I usually have a lot to speak on my mind. But as Ann had said, my business is Old Brick House. My wife and I have owned that now for 22 years. We've been through a lot of difficult times, recession, COVID, now this. And basically what I'm asking is find a way to open up our town. Work with Haywood County TDA to please open it up. This is a time of year that most of us collect the dollars that we can to get us through the difficult times in the winter. And as of now, my business does 45% of it in the next 3 months. I am down 66% in the first week. This is not looking good if it continues along this way. I have spoken to a lot of visitors already that have come into town that were surprised that they did see and notice that we were, because they did not see a lot out there that caused issues to have it be closed. Now, I'm not seeing it all, but I am talking to the customers that are coming in. The ones that have expressed thank yous to me, and for most of us for being open as a relief. I just heard earlier today that there were two people came from Hendersonville and one from Asheville, and they've been working tirelessly to clean up properties and helping people. And they took a day off to come to Waynesville because they did understand and hear that shops were open. So they were enjoying themselves today to get back to that difficult time. And we all know that there was another hurricane coming through Florida, and I did run into a lot of people already. I'm talking about a lot already here leaving that difficult time. So I know that is in place, and hopefully it will be out there publicly to tell people that we are now open for business. So I would appreciate all your assistance and your help in getting that to happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Is that it? Yeah.
We'll get you to fill out a card after the meeting, so
Yeah,
we
you
just
can
have a
speak.
record of your name, but
Yeah.
you step up to the podium.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that.
Well, we're learning. I'm a resident for the, in this great state for about 5 weeks, so. I, so thank you for having us. My name is Teresa Young. I'm the, what we call the elected official liaison for you to the disaster response. With me is your executive director for the Western North Carolina, Terry Goldberg. I just wanted to kind of touch base and say thank you very much for the partnerships. Thank you to the government council and public for having us here. We really want you to know that we work in partnership with you year round. It's not a surprise for us when we come together how to work together, because 80% of our time is on planning and preparation and hopefully only 20% on implementation. We know this is difficult for you. We wanted to quickly just let you know some of the things that Red Cross has provided or does provide, so that there's not a misunderstanding or miscommunication. You obviously have first responders. We consider ourselves first receivers. We help receive in shelters for food, lodging, water. Thank you for trusting us with your shelters and trusting us in your community. We do have people that will be out and working with you, not in opposition with you. So wherever it's necessary for disaster mental health, health services, and spiritual care. So if people have lost medicine, glasses, other medical needs, as you know, we're partners. We do have what we call individual condolence care team on site. So if there is any need for that or conversations, and then when we have the shelter ready to transition, we have shelter resident transition teams. We have teams for everything. We also have volunteer opportunities for anyone. We will have we have our long-term recovery team out here now to understand who our really strong partners are and who your really strong partners are, so that as we move towards recovery, we're already aware of who to work with to work in your long-term recovery planning, which includes the entire holistic part of your town. Beyond that, I also want to thank you for having shared damage assessment, because it makes it easier for all of us to get the resources to those in need. For the most part, I just want to thank you very much. Please let us know if you have unmet needs, because I am from Delaware, even though I'm claiming residency for a while. I was here for Debbie as well. Share your unmet. We're here to help you find connections anywhere throughout the country that we can. Thank you so much for your time.
And thank you for your service. That continues that. Okay. You got the manager's report, the town attorney. Do you have anything?
So there's I'll just point the council's attention to, there's a 2-page memo for your reference and review to help guide you in any policy decisions you wanted to make in response to the storm. If you have any questions, you're welcome to come see me. Also reminding the board that I sent an email a few months ago. Nothing's happened since then, so I'm sure it's been top of mind, but I'll be out of town for our next meeting.
Okay.
I have a family wedding in Seattle. I'll be away that week.
All right.
So please don't sue me.
Anyone have any questions?
Or get sued.
Does anyone have any questions for the town attorney or you? Okay, thank you. Okay. We'll move on to our communication from our mayor and staff. I will say to you folks that I work out of Asheville, and Asheville is shut down. There's nothing going on in Asheville. The restaurants, there's no restaurants open. There's not anything. So I look for a lot of folks to come and get a breather to our community. And I hope that happens, that they come to our town here in Waynesville. But today I drove around over there. I mean, it is a disaster. The River Art section is gone. I mean, buildings gone. I think these folks might even hopefully they want to come here. They want to come here and start a business here. Some of the folks that we opened up the old St. John's school down there for people, to start, artists and stuff. So hopefully, maybe we can help those folks out from there to come to our area for that. But just to speaking, of what's happening in Asheville. We're carrying water over there ourselves just to have, bathrooms. I mean, and we don't know how long this is going to go on with the water situation over there. Mission is getting their water brought in tankers. I mean, it's sad. It's very, very sad. I mean, our folks here, you know, we have water, we have electricity, we have sewer. I mean, we're very, very fortunate here in Waynesville to have the employees that have been busting their butts to get, and Jeff will tell you over there, his crew, you know, to keep the lights on and keep water and stuff going here. We're very, very fortunate compared to what's happening in our sister city in Asheville and Swannanoa and some of those areas. It's very, very sad, but I think you might see a flux of some of those folks coming to visit just to get away because it's so sad, you know, over there. And so hopefully we'll get some people to come to our town and spend some money. Yep.
And FEMA is renting rooms in Haywood County. I know plus 100 rooms, other motels and places, so there will be other people here if they're not already here.
Yeah. Okay. That's all. And those of you, you know, that don't have the TDAs, you know, getting their alerts and emails and stuff, see Chuck. Chuck is a representative for the TDA. And so Chuck can give you those, you know, the email and everything. And so you'll know what's coming through for the Tourist and Development Association. So I put you on the spot, my friend. So,
well, and I think the TDA is well aware of your concerns and shares your concerns.
Yeah,
so because the situation has changed so really dramatically over the last week or so. Allison.
I don't mind sharing. We did post and reshare a message to the TDA put out today about how to support local businesses. Open online options to contribute to their well-being in this interim time to get back to the
yeah.
They're updating us today, communicating closely as much as you can out there.
And we did particularly talk about Waynesville. If any of the businesses in Waynesville have online, like any online sales, please let the TDA know. TDA can link to those also.
And Maggie Valley Chamber of Commerce was meeting today. They're changing their entire website to say that Maggie Valley's open, Waynesville's open, and stuff like that, with the limited restrictions and things will come along with that.
But clear and honest about that. Yeah. What's closed, parks are closed, trails are closed. There's still significant danger for some of the outdoor recreational activities. While town looks great, so that other roads are still quite dangerous. We don't want people to come here and get stuck and have problems. So that's where the balance.
Yeah.
And I know it's difficult.
Yeah. I feel like you'll get like the day visits, like from Georgia and from South Carolina. Those 26 is open, 441 is open. You know, so hopefully, you know, some folks will come just for a day visit, you know, to spend some money in our town.
We've also had people giving this information.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can speak about road closures. I get daily road closures from the state of North Carolina, being the representative from the MPO. There's currently 655 roads closed, totally closed in North Carolina. There are 55 roads in Haywood County that are totally closed. So you may see the main highways are open, but if people get back off the main highways, there are tons of roads closed in Haywood County and in the state.
Yeah, no, going down Crabtree is very, very limited, you know, from roads. Is that Jolly?
No, I'll let John go and then I have one other.
John, you have your thing?
Julia was.
I've got two
Julie.
things right quick.
Okay, Julie.
First off, Elks Lodge started today from 3 to 5, today, tomorrow, Friday. We've got tractor trailer loads of supplies coming into Haywood County from our fellow Elks Lodge all over the country, even one from Pennsylvania that are coming down. We've got 8 pallets of water yesterday. We've got tons of food, so we're gonna get that word out in the community. This literally just came to fruition yesterday. And then the other thing, since Spencer, I'm glad Spencer is still here. I want to make this event that they're having for the community, this benefit event, and actually there's a secondary meeting going on right now with the organizers of that to make sure that 60-day barrier it's not going to be a barrier, the 60-day application process for these guys. So I don't know how we do that. Make a motion. Okay, then I would like to, for the upcoming benefit of event, music festival for our first responders and other community people taking place on November the 2nd. I'd like to waive that 60-day requirement for the application.
Second. Got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign.
Who gets the application to Jesse?
Yesterday, and we never intend, that was gonna be on the next agenda.
Okay.
That 60-day thing is really there more, it's on the application, because a lot of times folks in the past have put in very complex, labor intensive events 2 weeks before the event.
Yeah.
So it's less of a policy.
Yeah.
But we appreciate that, because I was,
Good deal.
Then that's all I have unless anyone, John, did you have anything?
I have one other thing. I really want to publicly thank Mark Fless for helping to get together with our Speaker of the House, Tim Moore, that Mayor Caldwell and I attended along with Rob and Clyde. And I think it will be very fruitful, but I know sometimes he gets not credit, but I want to make sure that we give him credit for helping put that together.
I want to give you credit for
Absolutely.
setting up that with Mark.
And Speaker Moore.
And Speaker Tim Moore. It really went good. It really went good. We had a good meeting with Tim Moore. He seemed to be really
receptive.
And he had just come through Clyde, actually. We had the meeting at Clyde Town Hall.
Yes. If you know anything about state legislative, all the money comes through the House. So and he's the speaker, so it's a very good place to start.
Yeah, very true. So Julia, you got your wish. We got to see the governor.
Yes, the governor. And I unfortunately missed the governor because I was the one who wanted to get here, but my niece got married Friday. So
yeah,
we had a hurricane wedding Friday at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, Rob and myself and Chief Joey Webb met with the governor when he came to the sheriff's office up there. Thanks to you for also Allison for giving us that opportunity to speak to the governor there while he was there. Because I know you were coordinating that. It was hard to keep all that with him and going. But I don't have anything else, so I entertain a motion we adjourn.
I'll make a motion we adjourn.
Motion.
Second,
Julie, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you all for coming out and caring about your community. We care too.